All right, the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, is brought to you by award-winning Elijah Craig Bourbon, the official bourbon of the PGA and the Ryder Cup. Ryder Cup this year, Bethpage Black. How about that? Late September. That's going to be wild to mix in with some college football and NFL. Also want to let you know that Taste Italian Restaurant is now open in the Renaissance. And they have Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel, Elijah Craig 18-year, and Elijah Craig Small Batch, and two others. I guess the Rye and one more. So they are ready for you. It is a fabulous restaurant. Started in Starkville, Mississippi, now in the Renaissance, just a mile down from us. Taste Italian Restaurant is open. We were there 3 times last week. It was fantastic. And we had a large time, 2 dinners and a lunch as they were rolling out their VIP week to friends and family, and now they're open to the public since Friday. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We want to welcome in Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Cole Thompson, good morning. How are you?
Morning, guys. Listen, it was a great week out in Atlanta. Got to hear all the things about what we can expect this year in the conference that, honestly, people need to be talking a lot more about because there's so much parity when it comes to the quarterback position, when it comes to who's on the hot seat this year. I'm excited. I think that you leaving Atlanta was a good inclination that the SEC may not have won the last 2 national titles, but it still remains the deepest conference, and it still remains a conference that is going to have a ton of madness going into the early month of November and probably throughout November to set the college football playoff.
It's going to be a great season. I agree with you, Cole. So many teams have good rosters, can compete, and could be in the hunt in the end. And I actually think that Auburn and LSU are going to bounce back. Now, are you a Longhorn or an Aggie or neither? Which way are we going here?
I grew up as a Longhorn fan, but I went to the University of Alabama for my degree, and then I worked around the SEC in places in Atlanta, out in LSU country. I've worked with Ole Miss people, so I've been able to kind of get a good gauge around it. But my allegiance, when we look at the grand scheme of things, is to the Crimson Tide.
Okay, so you're an Alabama guy. Love it. From the state of Texas. Okay, because you're in Houston, right?
I'm back in Houston. Yeah, I grew up in Houston and then moved back here about in 2019.
Very cool. Damn, you caught the Alabama thing at the right time.
Listen, that was the crazy part, is that the spike of people that came from the state of Texas actually grew in about 2009 because Greg McElroy won a national title, and he's from South Lake Carroll out in Dallas. So when that really started to pick on up, a lot of people, it felt like at one point I was meeting more Texas folk than I actually was Alabama folk when I moved there in 2012.
Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered. They do a great job generating content, keeping you up to speed on what's going on in the league. He joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. All right, so do you believe – I have a lot of confidence in him, especially with Ryan Grubb coming back after the year in Seattle, and I think Kalen's going to be just fine. He's never going to go on the run that Nick did because Nick was able to keep his players and didn't have to deal with the portal and so on. But do you believe that DeBoer is going to turn the corner and get it done, so to speak, and get Bama back in the hunt?
I would say so. There's a couple of things when it starts off with that. Number one is people got to realize last season you had a coach that was fresh off of playing in a national title and losing in the fourth quarter, replacing a 7-time national champion and arguably the greatest coach to ever do it. Expectations are really, really high, but also you still won 9 regular season games for the quarterback that doesn't fit your system. And people want to look at the losses, which are bad, Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and even Tennessee with their net passing attack last year. You also got to look at the wins. They were able to beat Georgia. They were able to manhandle LSU that actually led the SEC in passing last year in their own backyard in Death Valley. So there's a couple of things that when you look at those type of performances, you say, well that's Alabama, and that's the one that we're expecting to see long term. Nobody is ever going to do what Nick Saban did. And that goes for Kirby, that goes for Steve Sarkisian, that goes for Ryan Day out in Big Ten country. No one's going to be able to accomplish 6 national titles because of the parity in the sport. And as you brought up, roster control. Nick had this blessing where he was able to keep guys who would only start 8 or 9 games, and they would end up being top 50 selections the following year in the draft because of how well they were developed. Players aren't doing that anymore. But I do think the addition of Ryan Grubb is massive, substantially a huge plus for Alabama going into this year. Like Ryan Grubb, the way I would describe him is he's like having that best friend that you can go call on to watch your kids when you and the missus want to go out to dinner, and you don't even have to pick up the phone and even check in at home. Like, that's how well you trust him. That is Ryan Grubb, the perfect Robin to what is the Batman of Kalen DeBoer. And the other thing that's really important, guys, is that these two working together have never had a quarterback that hasn't thrown for over 4,000 yards in the season.
Hello.
When they were at Fresno State together, you also had Jake Haener do that, and then when you were at Washington, they had Michael Penix do that. And when they were at Fresno State and Washington, once out of the 2 years combined that they were there, they had 2 1,000-yard receivers. I think that receiver position is what's really going to stand out about this Alabama offense this year. They brought in Isaiah Horton from Miami. They also brought back Jeremy Bernard, who's been a part of Kalen DeBoer's system since 2023 when he was at Washington and initially started at Michigan State. You have Ryan Williams. Most people believe he is the best and most fluid wide receiver in the SEC. So you got to like that Ty Simpson is going to have a cast of characters that really is going to elevate his game. But the other thing, and probably the last thing, is if Ty Simpson isn't the guy, it's not the biggest end of the world because Austin Mack has been in the system for several years now. He has an understanding about what Ryan Grubb wants. And Ryan Grubb, not Kalen DeBoer, was the one to offer him a spot at Washington. And then they bring in Keelan Russell, the 5-star kid from Duncanville. I talked to some people. They don't think he's ready week 1, but there will be a very big shock if he's not ready to come in and play maybe 1 or 2 games, whether it be Vanderbilt at home or on the road against South Carolina. They believe his upside is through the roof.
All right. Who's a better coach, Sark or DeBoer?
You got knew that question was coming. I know it was. God bless. Right now, I'll go with Steve Sarkisian only because of his ability to prove that he can win on the road. I think that is massive, where DeBoer hasn't done that in the SEC just yet. I mean, remember, back when they were still in the Big 12, they marched into Nick Saban's house and won by double digits. So that speaks an incredible volume about who Steve Sarkisian is, but I think the gap is very minor between it. If I were to go rank SEC coaches, it goes Kalen DeBoer, Steve Sarkisian in that 2A, 2B spot. Maybe you throw Lane Kiffin right below them and then right above them with a pretty good significant jump. It would definitely be Kirby Smart.
Okay, so you would go Kirby and then Sark and DeBoer kind of tied and then Kiffin next. Is that right?
Yeah. I go Kiffin next and then just to wrap up the top 5. I'd go Brian Kelly still. I get it. I understand that there are going to be people who say, what has he done? And then you got to remember, well, he did in his first year with a brand new roster, beat Nick Saban and lead his team to an SEC title appearance. He also is the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame. That has to count for something.
Okay. So I'm not arguing it, but Heupel went to the college football playoff last year. So why Kiffin? Sure. I mean, they're both good, right? We could be splitting hairs here, but just out of curiosity, why Kiffin over Heupel?
Lane Kiffin has been able to prove that he can win on the road. Heupel has yet to win a ranked game against an SEC opponent on the road. That literally is what it comes down to. If there was any other way that I could do it, I would. But the consistency of playing against top 15 teams, Heupel has not been able to show it. Lane Kiffin has. I think that's all it is. Now, again, Lane Kiffin also in years where there are no expectations, like literally when you think that they're going to be an 8-14, he ends up going 11-2. The problem is that when we overhype Ole Miss, he finds a way to go ahead and crowd the bet at the 1-yard line, as evident last season in the Kentucky game, as evident last season in the Florida game.
Yeah, you can't lose to 1-7 Kentucky, and you can't lose to Florida with a quarterback who's insanely talented, but he's on one leg, and that's just that is. Look, I think Lane's top 10 in the country, and I can't argue with I would have Lane and Heupel right there. But I like where you're going. Kirby Smart 1. And then that group of 4, Sark, DeBoer, Kiffin, and Heupel is really special. I like Brian Kelly too. I agree with that, man. I know he's easy to hate or dislike, but I think they're wide. You tell me. All right, Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered on the Out of Bounds show. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. We're talking ball. as it's right around the corner. I think with their wide receiver room, and they elevated their defense enough, and Nussmeier in year 2, I expect them, if they can get through Clemson game 1, Cole, I think they're going to put themselves in position to make a run at a college football playoff berth. Now, that game at Clemson, because Clemson's got 4 potential first-rounders, is going to be tough. If they can escape that place with a win, they got a shot. Your thoughts?
They have a shot even with a loss in that game because it's a non-conference game. I think that the standard is you have to win that game for 2 reasons. Number one, you want to prove that you are a force in the realm of the actual national stage for a college football national championship. But number 2, it's just finally winning a week 1 game. I mean, guys, they have not won a week 1 matchup since 2019, and they played against McNeese State that year, if I'm not mistaken, with Joe Burrow as their starting quarterback. Burrow's on his 2nd contract in the NFL. That's how long it's been since LSU has won a week 1 opener. And credit where credit's due, LSU's one of these teams that is not afraid to go schedule tougher opponents, but still, you're LSU. There is a pride about being down in Death Valley on a Saturday night, which is the most ravenous, hostile atmosphere in college football. There's a pride about representing that purple and yellow. There's a pride about playing for the Tigers, especially if you grew up in that state. Like, when you go to the state of Texas, and I just use this because I'm from here, there's people that will say, I would love to go to Texas. I would love to go to A&M. I would love to go play at Baylor. SMU now in the ACC is getting more recruits that were probably never thought of. It's not that way in Louisiana. You dream as a kid of one school, and it's playing in the Valley at Baton Rouge in Death Valley on a Saturday night when the western sky sets. And it is a cool September evening knowing that there is going to be hell to deliver. So you got to get back to that standard. They did a great job of portaling in a lot of players defensively. Like Brian Kelly last year saw some games where he probably was like, this is a team that has a good foundation. We need more than that. And after they lost Bryce Underwood, they said, okay, use all this money that we set aside to bring in whoever the hell we want. We're going to win every single battle. And they really did with Jack Pyburn from Florida and Patrick Payton from FSU. They also brought in some really good defensive backs like Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech, Tamarcus Cooley, the nickel defender from NC State, AJ Halsey. I got to see him up close and in person last year at the University of Houston. He was one of my favorite transfer portal additions, and he was the very last one to join the crew. That's how well that they've been put together. There's 3 things that you got to know about LSU this year if they want to win. Number 1, Garrett Nussmeier has got to cut down on the turnovers. But keep in mind, he also threw the football 115 more times than any other quarterback last year in the SEC, and he still finished with the same amount of interceptions as Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers. So that means that number 2, you got to have a sufficient run game. You got to be able to be more than a one-dimensional offense. In games that they lost, they averaged less than 84 yards on the ground. They have got to be better than that, especially with a healthy Caden Durham. And number 3, and probably the most important one, guys, every year that LSU has played for a national title, whether it's been a win or a loss since 2000, they have won at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Every single year, 2003, 2007, 2011, 2019. So if Alabama and LSU is not a primetime game, and if that ends up being a loss, maybe we could say LSU is a playoff team because there's 12 playoff spots, but to prove that you are in that category of this is our year, veteran quarterback, great wide receiver play, sufficient defense, you got to win in Bryant-Denny on an early November night.
Damn, I like it. Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered, on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Now, do you also do sports talk radio in Houston?
I do. I work the afternoon drive in Houston.
Okay, tell me about it.
And listen, it's crazy because for us, this is like my haven because I'm one of those dudes that is absolutely in love with college football, always have been, always will be, but we mostly spend our time talking about the Astros and the Rockets because that's our partner brand. So it's been interesting. I just started back up working in the afternoon drive in March, and it's unique because I was doing more so national stuff and then podcasting with college football. It's turned into a very big blessing for me just to be able to learn more about how to talk about baseball, how to talk about basketball, how to kind of pick and choose what are your battles that you want. And then you throw in some Texans talk, and you throw in some UH talk, and you throw in some Longhorn talk and a little bit of LSU talk because we also carry all those brands. So it's fun. I have 2 great, exceptional co-hosts that are veterans in the game. They let me chime in whenever I need to. They let me have my own moment when it comes to college football, and they haven't knock me off my pedestal believing that the SEC just means more. Which, again, for both these guys, growing up in Big 12 country, they're very much trying to believe that somehow Arizona State found a way to shoot themselves in the foot of the 1-yard line last year, and Texas just wasn't that great.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so you go Astros, Rockets, Texans. I mean, it's a pro market, right? So,
yeah.
Okay. So would you say Texas has converted to the SEC with A&M coming in 2012 and now Texas last year? How would you frame that up?
Good question. For the most part, I think for SEC fans, they haven't, but I think for the standard of what is the Southeastern Conference, they have. Keep in mind that they had the number 1 recruiting class last year. That happens for SEC teams. It doesn't happen for Big 12 teams. They, in year 1, beat every team besides Georgia, which almost nobody beats Georgia unless you're Alabama. And they went down to the wire with Georgia twice, including in the SEC championship game. So that's what most SEC teams do. They played for a college football playoff appearance and were 1 play away from tying it in Arlington against Ohio State, to where that game says it was a 14-point swing, but it really was all the way down until about a minute 30 left. There still was an opportunity for Texas to find their chance of making it to the national championship. That's what SEC teams do. And then you talk about Texas A&M, and there's a split divide down here when it comes to Texas A&M, because we have the joke of Texas 8-4. And the reason people say that is because of, more often than not, A&M will win a game that they shouldn't, they'll lose a game that they shouldn't, and they'll finish 8-4. That's been kind of the mantra, whether it be Jimbo Fisher, whether it be Kevin Sumlin, Mike Elko last year in year 1, he went 8-4. So with Texas, year 1 with a program in a new conference, already established themselves sitting at the big boy table. They're getting all of the first-round courses, and they're having extra pumpkin pie, and they're enjoying an extra slice of cake, and they get to go out and go to the VIP club afterwards. And here's Texas A&M with a 12-year head start, with paying significant amount for coaches to come on in and fix the identity of their program. They get to play in Atlanta. Like, don't get me wrong, they had 1 exceptional year, but guys, in 2012, when they joined the SEC, they also had similar success to Texas, where they went 10-2 in the regular season with Johnny Manziel, and they got a signature upset win over Alabama.
Sure.
But ever since then, they haven't had a double-digit winning season. So what will be really interesting is if Texas does it this year, and let's just say they go on a run to Atlanta once again and arches the truth, and they win a national title, they at this point will have more double-digit wins in 2 years than A&M has had in 14.
Ooh, I love it.
So I think that's really where we're talking about when, hey, it's nothing against A&M. It's nothing against, them having a start and people not giving them the respect that they deserve. It's more so just Texas has come on in and proven, even with a relaxed schedule, which most people can look at and say that's probably true. Even with the relaxed schedule, they feel like that. They play up to the standard of Alabama.
Oh, you can't even compare. I agree with you, Cole. There's 5 of the teams in the league that pulled such cakewalk schedules. You can't compare their schedule and record to the other teams that don't have it. I mean, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, and maybe 1 or 2, Tennessee, 1 or 2 others. It's just unbelievable, the gap in the scheduling, and it's not comparable to some of the other teams like Florida and others. Even Georgia going on the road last year to Tuscaloosa, Oxford, and Austin. I mean, damn, it's not that I feel sorry for Georgia, but that's a tough run. Cole Thompson joining us, SEC Unfiltered podcast. He also on Houston Sports Talk Radio. He's from Texas, went to Bama, and they love SEC football like we do. So are you buying that Arch will be the truth in your? I think he will be. Part of it because of him, part of it because of Sark, and then just his personnel surrounding him. But do you think he'll be the truth this year and have a great year?
I believe he will have a great year. I do not believe he will be the quarterback first-year starter that everyone in the SEC will be talking about by the season's end. And that's not a shot at Arch at all. Like, I want to make this abundantly clear. I think Arch is going to be a reason why Texas makes it back to Atlanta, goes on a run in the college football playoff, because if he's been there for 2 years learning underneath Steve Sarkisian, and he's done a really good job of mastering the minor details for A.J. Milwaukee's personnel to where I think he's going to come on in and look the part immediately. I do think that there is a little bit of doubt when it comes to the development of the offensive line. They have 4 new starters. They have also a brand new starting tight end, 3 new wide receivers. Ryan Wingo is going to have to play a substantial role this year on the outside. But everything that I've heard is that he is very comfortable in the system. He is very confident in building that relationship with both DeAndre Moore, the slot receiver, and with Ryan Wingo. They bring in Jack Andrews, the tight end from Cal. They absolutely love him. They believe that he has the opportunity to be the best tight end in college football this year, if not and certainly the best tight end in the SEC. And the other thing, guys, is that Texas has an elite defense. Like people look at what they lost, and it's understandable. You know, it's harder to replace an Alfred Collins, but you have a Colin Simmons going into year 2 that is only going to get better. You have, for my money, the best linebacker in college football in Anthony Hill. You have one of the best safeties in Michael Taft, who's back for another year. You have Malik Muhammad on the outside, who did a good job as playing the number 2 role opposite of Jade Barron last year. You have Jaden Gilbo playing the nickel position. You have some really good freshmen, and they also went to the portal and back brought in a lot of defensive linemen, whether it be Manad Watson from Syracuse or Hero Canoe from Ohio State. And they also have a healthy running back room and C.J. Baxter fully back. So another thing that I think is going to benefit Texas, but the quarterback that we're going to be talking about, I think, at the end of the year that isn't getting enough love right now or enough national praise right now, first-year starter, I think it's going to be Austin Simmons for Ole Miss. I truly believe that he is going to come on in and not miss a beat the same way that Jackson Dart did it. That would be the way that I build it up. I think that is a huge win in favor of the Rebels. And I think that last season, watching him play, even in that one drive for a quick cup of coffee, he looked poised, unafraid, and unapologetically himself. Imagine 13 games of that this year. It's a big reason why I'm still buying stock into the Rebels to be a dark horse for the college football playoff this fall.
All right, so Cole Thompson says the surprise at QB will be Austin Simmons from Ole Miss. And but he does believe in Arch Manning. And I tell you another one I think is going to have a great year is Lagway. I think Lagway's a star.
Oh, yeah.
Cole.
No doubt about that. I think him and John Mateer are going to be the 2 quarterbacks that we're talking about going into the last week of the season that say, hey, this guy who plays well enough, he has a shot at going to New York City.
Boom. Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered, on the Out of Bounds show. Cole, we'll have to do this more. Congratulations on the success. We appreciate you.
Anytime you guys need me, holla. Talk to you guys soon.
That was good. Cole Thompson, SEC Unfiltered. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. The Out of Bounds show is brought to you by Taste Italian Restaurant in the Renaissance. They are open 7 days a week, lunch and dinner. And they have plenty of Elijah Craig bourbon. And I've got to get on Craig. They got to get some Volteo in there, tequila. But we'll make that happen too. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. I've got to give Jackson a hard time on the other side.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Is now morning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Oh, this is a good question. I like this. And I've got one for Jackson. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The show is brought to you by Mills Contracting in Gluckstadt. Building assisted living facilities, beautiful community center in Starkville, strip malls, and more. Oh, not counting what they've done at the state parks in the state of Mississippi. Millscontracting.net. Call Mills Contracting today for your next commercial project. Mills Contracting in Gluckstadt. Assisted living facilities, community centers, strip malls, and more. Boom. Mills Contracting, Gluckstadt, Mississippi. Matt Mills and the team. Bo Bounds, Jackson Meadows with you on... hey, it's summer. High school football is literally right around the corner. Love being able to put that on two TVs on Friday night as I'm sipping on a beverage and watching some. And I give high school football credit. The matchups that we get now, the first 4 weeks of the season before they go into conference or region play, is awesome. And we'll have MRA football on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. They've won big. They've had kids start in the SEC at LSU and Mississippi State and South Carolina and G5 schools and JUCO and D2 and all that. MRA will be on ESPN 105.9 The Zone again this year. And we're excited about that. I didn't make this announcement. Speaking of, I'll get into high school football in just a second. But Richard DeWeese is stepping down after this year. I played for him in high school, was fortunate. And then, of course, we've had a professional relationship because, Coach DeWeese is the one that I went to lunch with when Friday nights opened up on 105.9 The Zone ESPN. I called Coach DeWeese and I said, hey, we've got an opening. He said, I want to meet now. I was like, okay. He said, meet me at Mint. Mint was open where Local is now. We met. I didn't even hand him the sheet of paper. He said, we want it. And we want to do something on the show too, academically. I went, okay. He said, I want you to come in and meet. I did not know Termy Land, the head of school at this time. So my kids have been out of MRA so they went in like second or third grade. So that's 9 or 10 years plus 2 or 3 years. Anyway, this was 10 plus years ago. And I meet Termy Land, head of school at MRA, and he looks at it, he goes, I want it, and we want it forever. And I was like, dang, done. So that's how that happened, MRA, and then the whole academic run that MRA has run on the show. And it's funny that it came from Coach DeWeese. He was like, we don't want to talk about athletics. We want to do an academic run on the show and talk about the millions of dollars that we've invested in math and science and last few years. And I had not been keeping up with MRA because I'd been gone forever and so on. And he was walking me through everything that was going on. Then I go over to the school and I meet Mr. Land, Termy Land, the head of school. The rest is history. They've been on for like 12 or 13 years. Coach DeWeese will step down as the head boys basketball coach after this year. Hall of Fame. He's in the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. He won I don't know how many titles, both boys and girls. And then they finally let him drop coaching girls basketball. Because, when you're at a small school, now MRA's 1,500 students. But, I graduated with 39 people.
Yeah.
And so back then, he was the boys coach, the girls coach, the track and field coach, and coached us and taught us economics.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm sure did other things. And then eventually became the athletic director and so on. But he will step down at the end of the year. It'll be a special year and run. He was just inducted into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame a couple of years ago, which was fitting considering the number of wins and championships. Right. But MRA football will be on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. MRA it's changed the way we did the way we started doing things. And this is a credit to the show at MRA. They had spots available when they started running the academic run on the show. They don't have any more spots available pretty much K through 12. I think K through 6 is totally booked. And maybe even K through 8 grade. There are a couple of spots that come up 10th, 11th, 12th grade, sometimes 9th. This is going to sound crazy, but if you're like about to have a baby or you just had a kid, you need to go ahead and register just in case you decide you want to go that direction. There are many good options in the metro area. Sure. This happens to be the school that we partnered with, and it's a really good option too, academically. And they've only had 2 head of schools the last 31 years. Oh, wow. That matters. That matters, as others have had revolving doors. 31 years, two. I mean, Thompson and Land are other competitors will tell you how good they are at what they did. Discipline, accountability, all that. But 31 years, or 32 now, of 2 head of schools. Man. That's what it takes. So Coach DeWeese will retire at the end of the year. He'll be celebrated throughout the year. Unbelievable career. MRA football will be on 105.9 The Zone ESPN. And we usually drop about 10 basketball games, give or take. Obviously, Dan Pierce's son is start. He's I don't think they had ever had an 8th grader start until Josh Hubbard. And then right after Hub left, Damp started in 8th grade, which is unbelievable to be able to start in 8th grade. Incredible. At a program like MRA. Somebody just asked me on the text line about MAIS. I don't know. I'm told JA is the favorite, but that MRA and Prep and Hartfield, like all 4 could be there and probably will be. Yeah. They'll play in the semifinals, just depending on seeding, and then the finals. So it could be one hell of a year. All those teams have proven that at times they can beat anybody in MHSAA. And, I mean, hell, MRA took one of their least talented teams down to Oak Grove, lost by 1 point. Right. Oak Grove won the state championship. That was not even close to one of the top 5 teams that Herbert's had at MRA. And so, you know, Hartfield's got players that was Heupel in town? Yeah. They got guys that are getting recruited. Jay's got guys that are getting recruited. MRA Prep's been good for 100 years, so y'all know the deal. And then on the MHSAA side, the school right down from us, Madison Central, always good. Brandon, loaded, Oak Grove, and then they're saying Tupelo is going to be right back in the mix after beating Brandon in the state championship game last year. So you're going to have a lot of fun. You are going to have a ton of fun following the MAIS and the MHSAA to see who. Because it's hard to see who wins 1A through 7A, and I guess it's 1A through 4A or 5A or 6. I don't know. I can't remember how MAIS did it now.
We're one month out from MRA in Ravenwood.
Are we? MRA loaded up again. I could argue for and against that, but Herbert's a 3-time state championship coach just there. He's won other championships at other places. I'd probably take my foot off the accelerator a little bit because those are fun, but it is all about what happens at Mississippi College. But coaches know better than I do, and they want to I mean, no one has played a non-conference schedule like MRA. Now, the others that you're going against are not playing those schedules. Jay, Prep, and Hartfield.
Wow.
So you could say that's both. You could run the numbers 2 different ways. You know, but you got to hope that you have the depth to make it through. But they have played absolute monsters. Well, hell, they had ESPN there several years ago. Luganville called the game. They played the team from, I think, around Nashville or something that was nationally ranked. But we're excited to have MRA football on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. And every now and then a spot opens up in high school, so you'll want to take a private tour of the campus today and check everything that they're doing out. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. Want to welcome in Patrick Kelly, PK, owner of Finch and Kelly Clothing Store, custom clothing. Plus, they have amazing stuff that you can go in and grab, like Ole Miss gear and golf shirts and pullovers and so on. Patrick Kelly joins us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, also our official Oxford correspondent. And what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Did you forget about me? I hadn't talked to you in a while. What's going on?
Man, we're just trying to get through the summer up here, and been doing a little bit of traveling, but not a lot, and just plugging away at it.
Good. Yeah, your first home game will be here before you know it, Labor Day. I know you're ready for that. I know your cash register's doing well, but you're ready for that thing to heat up in August when the kids get back, and then the first home game.
Yeah, we got move in coming that first week of August, and then it just goes from there. And 8 home games this year is good.
Oh,
we're
man.
really excited.
Are you going to make sure that Dole Bryan is the greeter at the door for you?
I think we probably should. We definitely need somebody up there. We usually just have Deuce, but
oh man, I have to tell our listeners. Two remotes ago, I had a backpack down beside me, a couple of feet away, and I'd opened up a piece of beef jerky, and I'd taken a bite, and I put it in my backpack. Deuce went straight in that thing and found it in seconds. That he's like a Navy SEAL.
He's especially if he can find some beef jerky.
So is he the dog that at your house, like if you leave something on the coffee table, is it gone in less than a second or two?
He will do it on the coffee table. He actually hasn't figured out he can get stuff off the counter yet, so I'm hoping that'll stay that way.
Oh, yeah. That would be good. Okay. So are you fired up about some of the golf shirts, knit shirts that y'all are going to be offering here in the next few weeks as we get ready for home games?
Yeah, and we just picked up a new line that some people down there will probably be familiar with. We got Cowboy Country Club in, and Tanner McCraney started that brand when he was in grad school up here. And they're based out of Jackson, and they're really taken off, and we're pretty excited about it.
That's awesome. Okay. Cowboy Country Club, PK has picked that up, and he's getting ready for football. Well, he's getting ready for the students to come back, and then football season. All right, what are y'all going to do? I can't. I know you're going to be good because you got Lane and you got talent and you got an amazing schedule. But I'm like, how good do you think y'all are going to be, PK?
I want to put on my rose-colored glasses and tell you that, this could be the year for us to make the playoffs. But I really think that, Austin Simmons is going to have some first-year starter problems at some point. But if you look at the schedule right now, Vegas has us favored in 11 of the 12 games.
Yeah, except what, at Georgia?
Yep. So it's, I think anywhere from 8-4 to 10-2.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. And look, I really think that if we can just set up this year and keep everybody healthy and not lose anybody in the portal next, coming up,
sure,
we're really set up for next year to be the run.
Yeah, I think Austin will come back just because year one, even if you have a good year, I would think you need a little more, you just need, you need more than 12 or 13 games under your belt. I see where you're going there. It'll be interesting to see if we've got 8 or 9 conference games by 2026. If they can get this college football playoff deal. I know what you wish. You and Dole wish that it was a 16-team playoff. Last year you'd have made it, and this year you would probably, even at 9-3, you'd have a shot. Wouldn't you love for it to already be 16 teams, PK?
Oh man, look, I was, when we went down to Florida for that game, I was already I had already picked out Christmas presents for everybody with the money we were going to get from that home playoff.
Yeah. Golly, December 20th or 19th or 20th, I can't remember, would have been insanity for you and your store, although you did very, very well with home games against Oklahoma and Georgia and of course the Egg Bowl at your place and so on. All right, so let's talk Mills. What was that place you told me about last time I did a remote from Finch and Kelly that Kiffin loves, the Velvet what?
Velvet Ditch.
Have you been?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a bunch. Actually, my daughter manages up there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But, yeah, he's up there. I mean, there was a point where he was up there 3 or 4 days a week, and, we rarely see Kiffin out in the past. I mean, now we saw him at Jinsei this last week, but it's funny because
good sushi.
Yeah, but he was up there, and they're really more kind of like an old school steamer for most of the menu, but he likes the steak up there.
Okay.
But it's got a huge outdoor area. It's right there on the corner across from Four Corners Chicken on a Stick Chevron.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a big outdoor area. It's super nice. The food's actually really good. Drinks are good. And it's probably shaking up the bar scene in Oxford more than anything has in a long time.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they're packed.
Okay, I'm going to have to. So tomorrow night I got the Davidoff dinner in Oxford. I got it at Grit, Yeah. I may need to stop by this Velvet Ditch and check this thing out. Okay.
I think you should. You'll like the vibe. It's the food's good. The drinks are good. The atmosphere is fantastic. They've really done a lot, and they're actually putting a cover over their outdoor area.
Oh, nice.
Got approved by the city a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, is it 1A with City Grocery? I mean, what are we doing here?
It's not that kind of. It's more 1A with the library on the bar scene.
Okay.
And the food is just easy. Like they do crawfish for the whole crawfish season.
Got it.
And it's the only crawfish that I've had that north of Jackson that's been really good.
Oh, that's impressive.
But they do a really good job, and it's way more casual.
Okay, cool. Patrick Kelly, Finch and Kelly on the square in Oxford. He's gearing up for the school year and football season. When you're in Oxford, check him out. Finch and Kelly right off the square in Oxford. He's our official Oxford correspondent. Well, he and Dole Bryan are both. They kind of split the deal. And I may see PK tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on when I get up there. I'm hoping to get up there a little early, maybe come by. And PK is not scared to have a little cocktail about 4:00 in the afternoon. So we may have to check that out. All right. Do you have any cool, like Ole Miss belts for sale?
Well, we've got the custom leather belts we can do, and we've got a few of those in with like a blue camo with red edges and stitching. And then we've always got our Roosters belts that we've had since we opened.
Okay.
That's an Oxford company. A couple of my kids work there, but those belts are
That's
pretty
cool.
inexpensive. Great game day belts.
Okay.
Because they have a ton of different colors. And love those guys. They've been really good partners, and we are just plugging away. They started carrying some of the belts that are like the Smathers and Branson kind. They do a couple of those, but they're working on expanding that.
Finch and Kelly in Oxford, right across from South Depot Taco. Did I get that right, PK?
That's right. You got it right finally.
Boom. I may see you tomorrow. Love you, buddy. See you.
All right, love to see you, buddy. All right, bye.
Patrick Kelly, Finch and Kelly on the square in Oxford. He's crushing it. Go see him this school year football season.